see what we can come up with ourselves. We did some research on the self-publishing part of it, and we decided to figure out what our name was going to be, given that it was mine and hers together as a collaboration between the first two books. We decided to go ahead with the name GreenByrd, my last name, her last name, come up with a symbol that kind of given the strength and something that we can have for years to come, that people can stand by and understand and look at us like, oh, I know that symbol, that's GreenByrd. And it kind of went from there. So that's kind of a long story short right there of how it all happened and how we became GreenByrd Comics. So.
Okay, so real quick, tell the folks more what specifically GreenByrd Comics produces, because it's very, very unique.
As of right now, GreenByrd Comics produces more horror, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic type content for the moment. We are still open-minded, of course, and we're going to gather more different types of genres later on down the line. That's the reason why we picked up other artists as well as creators to kind of fill that in, and later on down the line we'll have more. But at the current moment, it is kind of specific to the horror, sci-fi, post-apocalyptic genre.
Okay. So, I guess my next question would be, with that being said, so the demographic that you guys are targeting definitely, hey y'all, and I just talked about him being late, y'all, and he shows up. Bruh, you, we know you.
Hey man, whatever man, look.
And you wear my favorite movie. Oh, you love me on the low.
Baby.
Maybe a little bit, just a little bit. Okay,
Yeah,
y'all. If y'all didn't know, I am a super Prince fan. I am a super Prince fanatic. Y'all, Nova just walked in the building. We gonna get to him in a minute, but we gonna get back to GreenByrd Comics. So, the demographic y'all targeted is typically your teenage to adults, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so do y'all ever see yourselves doing any of your graphic novels and books more outside of the genre that you've got set, which, like you said, is more of the post-apocalyptic sci-fi horror kind of setting? Do y'all see yourselves branching off into maybe something a little bit different, or is that kind of the lane you guys are trying to stay in?
I mean, we're definitely looking for more than just that. I mean, there's something for everybody, so we want to make sure people know that it's not just, subjected to just that type of subject matter.
Okay.
So, yeah, we got definitely more to come down the line that's going to be outside of what we are normally doing right now. So, yeah, we're open-minded to all that.
Okay. So, you guys got started what year?
It was 2014, I believe.
Nice.
May have been 15 actually.
14 is when we got together and started talking about it.
Yeah, that was the Black Angel Art Show. 14, right?
That was the last one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about this Black Angel Art Show since you brought it up.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about that, because that kind of fits into the subject of what we're talking about tonight. So, you did a Black Angel Art Show?
I did.
Okay, what was that? All right, let's talk about that.
All right. So, the Black Angel Art Show, I started in 2012. It was my last year at U of L, and we had to do like a senior show. And so what I decided to do was, outside of that, is to create a show that catered to the local visual artists of, Louisville, Southern Indiana. And so initially it was 4 of us, me, Alexis, I'm not even gonna say any names right now because I'm messing up the names, but it was me and 3 other young ladies, and we had our first show at the Hilton Garden Inn Louisville Airport on Crittenden Drive, and then afterwards it continued to grow. So the next year I had 8 artists, and then went over a weekend at the Hayberg building at Lucky, I believe it's Happy Evenings. Sylvester Gurnell owns that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following year, in 14, I had one show where we had 16 artists. So we had to go over 2 weekends, and it just got bigger and bigger as the time went by, and it was just more visual artists coming from the local area that were able to showcase their work, have another platform.
Right.
And the whole premise of the show was to be able to give that unknown artist an outlet. Because a lot of us as artists, we do a lot of artwork, but it never gets seen because we're either too self-conscious or too afraid of things, so to speak, as far as getting our work out there, and it just stays at home or to the family, but nowhere else. So I wanted to make an art show that actually catered to those type of artists that never had an art show before.
Right.
The first one, and to kind of get their feet wet when it comes to being able to meet other people and showcase their work to others. outside
Okay.
of what they're-
So is this something you still do every year?
I had the last one in 2017. I called it the finale because I wanted it to transition over the name Black Angel over into what we're doing right now, the Black Angel art show or the Black Angel books. So I felt that I would rather have sent it off the way I started it, back at the same original place, the Hilton Garden in Louisville Airport, and not the same artist. It was a different artist, but it was still pulling in people that never had an art show before. And
Right.
so I wanted to end it that way. And I am going to do another one similar to it. I haven't figured out a name yet, but I think that, with that being said, it was a good step in the right direction of helping out the visual artists. So I felt like, okay, why not continue that? But I'm just going to do it under a different name.
Okay. So the next question I have, speaking about art, have you ever aspired or would you ever, as GreenByrd Comics, do the St. James Art Festival?
Yes, I've actually done it before back in high school. We had a booth there, but outside of GreenByrd, I actually have my own kind of art thing going on, and I tabled at GalaxyCon. I was right across the way.
Yeah,
from her.
that's why he was like, she's right there. And I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, it's two booths.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes, that was dope.
Yeah,
Yes.
it gets better every year. I'm really happy that Louisville has something like that now because
Absolutely.
Needs it.
Absolutely. And he's a gamer, y'all. Like,
That's a fact.
he's a serious gamer. Like, he was like plotting on destroying little kids' dreams and hopes.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't the plotting. They were just in the way.
Oh, wow.
Right.
There was some real,
Just was
like,
going to destroy all the little kids' hopes and dreams.
Nah,
Of
dude,
they was going to go to GalaxyCon and rule. Not with him around.
breaking
no,
little
no.
kids' hearts.
I mean, no, not
Who
really.
carries around a game system in their backpack?
I don't carry around a game system in my backpack. I carry around an arcade stick meant to be played on multiple
He's
systems
a
in my
professional.
backpack.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's a whole arcade system to me.
It's no different from when I go to different tournaments. Like,
What do you
know,
play? Do you play Street Fighter?
I
Or?
play Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball
Oh.
FighterZ, Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat 10, Third Strike, Street Fighter 4.
Hell
Like I
yeah.
said,
Marvel
that's
vs.
probably the
Marvel vs.
whole
Capcom.
system in his backpack, y'all.
Hey man, that's not my fault. Okay? When I was young, I was getting murdered out here. I had to learn.
Yeah.
You know?
Said you're just trying to help them along the way.
Just trying
Yeah,
to help them
tough
along the
love.
way.
Okay.
Gotta lose to win, baby.
Oh,
Exactly.
You know?
poor little babies. They
It'll be
just
alright.
don't even know it's coming.
Hey man.
Hey, but okay. So with that being said, the state of, like, we were discussing about GalaxyCon and how a lot of people don't even understand or know the culture of it. Like, especially in our community, like, it's still kind of a taboo thing
Right.
to do cosplay and to read the anime and the mangas and the graphic novels. And like we were talking about the fact that there's a lot of these independent art forms and people don't really get behind them like they do the mainstream. And this will translate even into music, which is what you do.
Yeah.
Mainstream is what seems to be the thing, but then you have just so happen maybe an independent artist that does something really, really, really big, and everybody's all of a sudden behind it and cheerleading and a fan, but then they go back to the mainstream. So I guess part of what I want to talk about tonight is the fact that it transcends different genres, different demographics, and I guess one of the biggest things I saw at Comic-Con or at GalaxyCon is that you got so many people. It didn't matter what color they were, what background they had. People were just being people and interacting and
Right.
having fun, taking pictures, just excited to even just see each other.
Right.
They didn't even know each other.
Right.
Like, literally, there was these kids, because, we were in the cosplay lounge, and I mean, these kids were just like grouping up just to take pictures and have fun, and then they were coming to request song and they start doing these little dances and stuff, and I was like, what is, I thought one time they were doing a seance. I ain't even gonna lie. I said, if I come back in here with a horn and a tail, they did it.
Right.
Cause I was like, wait a minute, what are they doing? I'm not exactly sure what this one is. I've not seen this before. But I mean, they just were legit like people who didn't know each other. Like I saw them Friday.
Yeah.
Saw them start talking, but by Sunday they're all walking in groups together.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing to me. So with that being said, what was your guys' feeling from participating at GalaxyCon and experiencing the different art forms that you guys not only brought to GalaxyCon, but that was all around it?
Well, I'll say last year was my first year actually participating in it, and it was an experience for me as well because I'm not used to that. Like, yeah, I'm a traditional artist, so I do paintings and drawings and things like that, landscape. So when I started doing this, it was something that was brought up to me by Michaela that we should do a convention, you know, to kind of broadcast and put our stuff out there a little bit more. So I went and I went to one. I didn't participate. I went into one. I think it was the Derby City Comic Con, was it?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was in promoting her artwork, but I didn't really get too much of experience because all I wanted to do was just go there and support her and see her for a little bit. And so I said, okay. So last year, 2018, the SuperCon is what it was called last year.
Right.
Yeah.
That was my first real experience. So I'm sitting there, I'm gauging, I'm looking at every person dressed in a costume walk past me. I'm like, what did I get myself into? Like, what is this all about? Like, I said, this is a totally different world. Like,
It is. It really is.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, well, I gotta sit here, let this first year be an experience, figure some things out, see if I can find an algorithm, see how I fit into this whole equation, and then just go from there. So, you know, after that, this past year, I was a little bit more relaxed. I was a little bit more comfortable. I enjoyed it because I had to transition over from this whole new entirely thing to, you know what, these people are actually dressing up and kind of like bringing back some of my childhood from some of the characters that I see them dress up as.
Right.
So it was like, okay, all right, I see you like that. I'll take some pictures, you know, kind of like promote the business some, because what we're doing pretty much is, you know, something that I hope in the future someone will actually dress up as anyway, one of our characters.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, the transition came. It came. And then I enjoyed this passion. Hopefully, for the cons to come, it gets even better. So.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, Miss Michaela, you are the vet, I believe, in this thing. So let's get your opinion.
Yeah, so I've been tabling at cons for years now. I think GalaxyCon was my 7th, I believe, table, and I've attended more than that. This year I did Fan Expo Boston, so I had a table at Boston, this big convention in Boston, and that was pretty crazy. Trying to do a convention where you have to fly to get there is so stressful, but I'm going to do another one next year in Houston, and eventually we're going to be flying across the country to do stuff like that. So.
I am trying to get to San Diego. I ain't even on front.
Yeah. I want to attend San Diego first, not with the table. I
want to just go and experience that because, I mean, when you look at the YouTube videos, you be like, man, this look like it was everything.
Yeah.
Like, you really feel like you seeing, I mean, every character known to freaking man.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it's the biggest comic convention in the U.S. I think the second biggest is the New York City Comic Con, and then Chicago has a huge one. It's called C2E2. It's in March, and I've been to that one, and it's pretty damn big. There's a lot.
Right.
Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to that. And like I said, you guys are more than welcome to come back on my show or Dee's Corner or anybody else's show, but Dee's Corner and 502 Dope is starting in 2020. I get to announce this. They are doing a crossover show that is going to be focusing on this genre, the Comic-Cons, the animes, the animation, movies, how it all translates into culture, because it's definitely a thing. Like, I didn't know we had a FrankfurtCon. I
didn't know that.
We have a FrankfurCon.
I had no idea.
I was
You
like,
can get a table at it still. It's not too late. I got an email about it.
FrankfurtCon. I was like, what?
I saw it too.
It's
Like
a tiny
Lexington
little
has a
thing.
Comic-Con. I knew about that one.
Yeah.
But FrankfurtCon, I was like, there's a FrankfurtCon?
Yeah, it's different.
And then they